Okay. OSHA standard for general industry are covered in
B, 29.
no, it is there.
What?
NCFR Part
I got
9B.
B. Yes.
For general industry. For general industry is
My industrial revolution was early in the 1800s, so 1910. Think that makes sense.
okay. CFR Part 1910.
Pretty good.
That's it.
Good.
I just have to make sure.
Safety. How to read OSHA standards. What is an OSHA standard? An OSHA standard is a list of material and equipment requirements along with guidelines and instructions for employers to minimize employee risk in the performance of work. Simply put, the OSHA standard is an administrative law or regulation implemented to protect the health and safety of American workers. The Occupational Safety and Health Act grants OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, the authority to issue workplace health and safety regulations. When we write or look up an OSHA standard, it'll be written like this: title number, the CFR Code of Federal Regulations, the part, the section, which would be the dot after the section, the lowercase alpha, an Arabic number, lowercase Roman numeral, an uppercase alpha, and an Arabic number again. You may also see it written like this, with the part number 1910, the part number title, Occupational Safety and Health Standards, the subpart 1910 subpart J, etc. What is a title number in a CFR? The title number represents one of 50 broad areas of federal regulation or law. The Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, is the codification of the general and permanent rules published in the Federal Register by the executive departments and agencies of the federal government. Chapters and parts. Each chapter is divided into parts. All of OSHA standards are CFR Code of Federal Regulations. Title 29, labor, which would be the chapter, the title, chapter 17. Examples of parts include Part 1910, which is Safety and Health Standards for General Industry, Part 1950, Safety and Health Standards for Shipyards, Part 1917, the safety and health regulations for marine terminals, and so on. Part 19, general industry. Subparts include subpart G, occupational health and environmental control, subpart H, hazardous material, subpart I, personal protective equipment, subpart J, general environmental controls. Sections, for instance, section 146, our subparts are divided into each section. Each section is identified with a number. 1910.146, permanent required confined spaces. Major topic paragraph sections are then divided into separate sublevels or subdivisions. And the first or the highest level subdivision is the major topic paragraph. Part 1910 would be general industry, 146 would be environmental controls, C would be 146 would be confined space, C would be the general requirements, or the major topic paragraph. Paragraphs, subsections, and additional subdivisions. Major topic paragraphs divided into paragraphs, subsections, and paragraph subsections can be further divided. 1910.146C, 5, 2, G3. Measures shall be implemented to protect employees from the hazardous atmospheres before any subsequent injury takes place. If you're looking for more information on safety and other projects I work on, check out my website at toddjenkins.com, subscribe, hit that bell notification, give it a thumbs up if you like it, and forward this to someone that you know.
From food-grade lubricants to LED lighting and every product in between, all in one place and easy to order. Call, click, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, Dan, what'd you just do? All right, well, I'm not done, so obviously I'm gonna get a couple of So basically, we're adding two circuits. These are 277 volt, single pole in a house. It's like 120 volt. You got one hot.
Okay.
So in this case, we got 277 volt.
This is 480 volt panel? 480.
No, well, yeah, but it's fed from 600 amps, as you can see with all these rods.
Yeah.
So it's ran in parallel.
So thick wires.
We turn off the whole main on the other side. That's feeding this panel, so I'm good. And these breakers right here are bolt-on breakers. There's a screw that goes in here that locks these in. Normally in a residential home, you would just snap them in.
Yeah, I see it.
In this case, I have to get the screw. You can make it look good.
I see neutrals, grounds, hots.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
Got it. Thanks for the knowledge. All right, Ken, what'd you just do?
All right, well, I'm not done, so obviously I'm gonna hit this all ball up and take a look next here. So basically, we're adding two circuits. These are 277 volt, they're single pole in a house. It's like 120 volt. You got one hot.
Okay.
So in this case, we got 277 volt.
This is 480 volt panel? 480.
No, well, yeah, but it's fed from 600 amps, as you can see with all these rods.
Yeah.
So it's ran in parallel.
So thick wires.
We turn off the whole main on the other side. That's feeding this panel, so I'm good. And these breakers right here are bolt-on breakers. And there's a screw that goes in here that locks these in. Normally in a residential home, you would just snap them in.
Yeah, I see it.
In this case, I have to get the screw. You can make it look good.
I see neutrals, grounds, hots.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
Got it. Thanks for the knowledge. All right, Ken, what'd you just do?
All right, well, I'm not done, so obviously I'm gonna get this all bundled up and take a look next here. So basically, we're adding two circuits. These are 277 volt, they're single pole in a house. It's like 120 volt. You got one hot.
Okay.
So in this case, we got 277 volt.
This is 480 volt panel? 480.
No, well, yeah, but it's fed from 600 amps, as you can see with all these rods.
Yeah.
So it's ran in parallel.
So thick wires.
We turn off the whole main on the other side. That's feeding this panel, so I'm good. And these breakers right here are bolt-on breakers. And there's a screw that goes in here that locks these in. Normally in a residential home, you would just snap them in.
Yeah, I see it.
In this case, I have to get the screw. You can make it look good.
I see neutrals, grounds, hots.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
Got it. Thanks for the knowledge. All right, Ken, what'd you just do?
All right, well, I'm not done, so obviously I'm gonna get this all bundled up and take a look next here. So basically, we're adding two circuits. These are 277 volt, they're single pole in a house. It's like 120 volt. You got one hot.
Okay.
So in this case, we got 277 volt.
This is 480 volt panel? 480.
No, well, yeah, but it's fed from 600 amps, as you can see with all these rods.
Yeah.
So it's ran in parallel.
So thick wires.
We turn off the whole main on the other side. That's feeding this panel, so I'm good. And these breakers right here are bolt-on breakers. And there's a screw that goes in here that locks these in. Normally in a residential home, you would just snap them in.
Yeah, I see it.
In this case, I have to get the screw. You can make it look good.
I see neutrals, grounds, hots.
Yeah, but we're getting there.
Got it. Thanks for the knowledge. All right, Ken, what'd you just do?
All right, well, I'm not done, so obviously I'm gonna get this all bundled up and take a look next here. So basically, we're adding two circuits. These are 277 volt, they're single pole in a house. It's like 120 volt. You got one hot.
Okay.
So in this case, we got 277 volt.
This is 480 volt panel? 480.
No, well, yeah, but it's
Here's up.
Yes. And then you start getting more involved in commercial and industrial. What's the differences between the three? Well, there's major differences between all three of those. So as an electrician, your company, you get to decide what trade you want to take up. Residential, commercial, industrial, you can even have agriculture too. You can do the low voltage like cameras and fiber and all that too. Some big companies have separate departments and all that. Residential, I love because I'm always a people person, yes. And then you start getting more involved in commercial and industrial. What's the difference between them? Well, there's major differences between all three of those. So as an electrician, your company, you get to decide what trade you want to take up. Residential, commercial, and industrial, they even have agriculture too. You can do the low voltage like cameras and fiber and all that too. Some big companies have separate departments and all that. Residential, I love because I'm always a people person, yes. And then you start getting more involved in commercial. All right, number one on our list is Romex. A lot of people call this Romex. Romex is really a brand. It's actually called a non-metallic sheet cable. Specifically, it's NM type B. Several different types of non-metallic sheet cable. But this is the stuff that you run in the wall. So between plugs and switches, pretty much everything in the house, you're going to use Romex. Number two, staples. So staples are what we use to secure that type NM cable to walls. There's several different types of staples, there's several different depths, some of them have ratings, so that you can put one of these pieces of Romex under one staple. Some of them are rated for two. There's a whole debate on whether or not you should be stacking multiple conductors or multiple pieces of Romex under a staple. We'll get into that conversation in a little. But just know staples are your method of securing said cable. Number three is the nail-on box. Nail-on boxes are what they say they are. They're a box with nails that come on it. You hammer these into a wood stud, and that's what holds the box in place. And you run wire into it, and you're going to have a stud and pull or a switch or something in this box. They come in a bunch of sizes because you may have one device, so one gang. This is a 2-gang nail-on box. So you have 2 switches, 2 plugs, whatever. 3-gang nail-on box, and a 4-gang nail-on box. There's many different types and styles. Some come with screws, some come with brackets, some come with a little extra piece of plastic with holes in it so you can screw it in. But essentially, they're all doing the same purpose. They're all being nailed onto a stud. Next is the pop-in box or the cut-in box, depending on where you're at in the country, what people call it. This is a single gang. Same thing as the nail-on. It's just a cut into sheetrock. So you would typically use these in a job like a remodel or something, or if you're adding something to an existing house that already has all the sheetrock up, you need to put something, a receptacle or a switch somewhere. So this is the stuff that you would use when there's already sheetrock up. The other stuff you would use is just wood into brand new building. So these come in single gang. I don't have a 2-gang. How much that actually irritates me.
But if you have a 3 gig, you're gonna do a 4 gig. So again, the same kind of thing, putting several different devices in these, at different sizes depending on how many devices you put in them. Next is the round nail-on box. So these are for lights. Usually you're gonna have these in a ceiling somewhere, run wire into it, and then your light fixture is going to attach to this. They're always round. There's several different styles of these. Again, this is a 4-inch round nail-on box. Next up is the round pop-in box or cut-in box. This is if there's already sheetrock up, you're gonna hang a light somewhere, and cut the sheetrock out, and stick this up in the hole. It's gonna hold itself against the sheetrock. This is a 3-inch round. This is a 4-inch round. Again, multiple styles of each, but you need to know the round pop-in box. Number 7 is a pancake. So this is a box that you would use. It's only the depth of sheetrock. So if you have something like a piece of wood, a stud, or something, and you have to have a cable right there, you can't move over in the open space. And you use a pancake, and you run your conductors into this. Very few conductors, these aren't rated to have a whole bunch of wires in them. So you already know a little bit about box fill, but essentially, you just need to know this is called a pancake. Number 8 is the fan cake. So fan cake is basically the same thing as a pancake. It's just that it's fan rated. So you can't hang a fan for this pancake. You have to have a fan cake instead. Or a fan rated pancake. We just call them pancakes. The reason is the pancake has these tiny little ears on them, and you can bend those ears. So for a fan, they take away a whole lot more than a light fixture. You need something that has a hard side, that's threaded and reinforced, that can hold the fan. So you need to know pancake. Next up is the fan brace. So just like a fan cake is meant to hold a fan, fan brace is one totally different. Fan cake, fan brace is if you're mounting to wood, you can use something like this. If you're mounting in between a chase, in between 2 trusses, you can use something like this. It's super heavy duty, usually holds 50 and 70 pounds, depending on which rating you're using, say your Wells rating. But just know, fan braces are fans. We also use these a lot for really heavy chandeliers, or really heavy lighting that we put up. If we think that a regular box, something like this, or a nail box is not stout enough, we think it's going to rip out of the ceiling if we use one of these, then we'll use something a lot more heavy duty like this fan brace for. Next up is the bar hanger. So a bar hanger is essentially one of these nail boxes hanger. So if you're not nailing it up to a stud or a truss, you're going to put it in between 2, just like you would do with the fan brace, so it can slide. You're going to use these things like crazy. Sometimes they're usually in the walls, so they'll face out like this, so like this, they'll hang off. Sometimes they go on the ceiling. But you're going to do lightweight stuff. You're not putting a 300-pound fixture in front of it. It's plastic, so it's got plastic holes. It's put the screws into it, and if it's heavy enough, something can break out of it. So you still need to use something heavy. If you're going to do like a fan or like a 100-pound chain. Next up is the duplex receptacle. It's called a duplex receptacle because there's 2 receptacles. You can plug 2 different things into this. So you're going to install so many of these that you're not ever going to be able to count. You get them out of the duplex receptacle. You're going to be able to put it. But just know this is a duplex receptacle. This is not a plug. This is a receptacle, although you're going to hear so many people just call this a plug. Next is the single receptacle. So just like a duplex receptacle, it receives a plug or a cord that goes into it. But there's only one. So we usually use these for dedicated circuits, like a refrigerator, a dishwasher disposal or something. You don't want something else getting plugged in. So if there's 2 loads being drawn in the same circuit, you just put this in so you can only plug one thing into it. So this is a single receptacle. Next we have the GFI receptacle. This is a ground fault circuit interrupter. This is something that you're going to use in locations, doors, or in garages, utility rooms, kitchens, bathrooms, anywhere where you can potentially have water on the floor and you can stand in that water and electrocute it badly. So you're going to use GFI receptacles quite a bit. And another thing, a lot of people call them GFIs. They're actually GFCIs. There are some people out there that are very picky. about you calling it GFI versus you calling it GFCI. The GFI is a ground fault interrupter. The GFCI is a ground fault circuit interrupter. Either way you go, just know when you're going in that this is a clear ground fault. Ground fault is something that we'll get into in a later video. GFCI or set applications. Next up is a single pole switch. So a single pole switch, you're going to install so many of these, and you can imagine how many of these you're going to be working on. Single pole switch is essentially just an on-off. That's all there is. It's either connecting or disconnecting a wire. So you use these to turn light switches on. Sometimes you use them as disconnects, so you can disconnect power like a gas furnace or something like that. But you'll use the crap out of these. Just remember, single pole switch means turning on and turning off. Next, in that same vein, is the three-way switch. Three-way switch, surprisingly, does not turn on three different things. It's the harder thing for me as an apprentice to understand why. It doesn't matter why. I mean, you know how it works. But it's like, I think intuitively it should be called a two-way switch because you can switch from two different ways. That's not what it's for. So they call it a three-way switch. You can see that the terminals on the back are different. This single pole receptacle only has two screws. Your incoming hot, and you have the conductor that goes out to the light. With a three-way, you actually have three screws. So you have a common screw, which is where your incoming hot goes, or your outgoing goes to the light. And you have two travelers that run between these two devices. We'll go into this later. You don't need to know that. You just need to know a three-way switch is a switch that's used when you're trying to switch the same lights from two different locations. So it's not just an on and off. It's set current one way and set current a different way, depending on which position you switch this into. Now, another thing to bring up real quick before I move on, you see the difference between these switches, right? This is what we call a toggle switch. So there's actually a lever, a toggle that you can flip. This is called a Decora or a Decora switch. It's basically a paddle switch, people call it that as well. So there's just two different styles of switch. That's it. It's just a visual aesthetic thing. Some people love this style. They usually match these plugs. They all have the same plates that go around. They're identical, same size. So a lot of people like this style of their homes, whereas other people like the standard style where there's the round face on the receptacles and toggling for the switches. Next up is a circuit breaker. So circuit breakers are in every building that you're going to mess with. So just understanding that a circuit breaker is the starting point of a branch circuit. A branch circuit is what goes out to receptacles, lighting, and everything comes out of the panel and feeds some kind of load. The way that you turn the circuit off is like turning the breaker on or off. So this is just a standard single pole breaker. So the next thing that you're going to want to know is the arc fault breaker. In dealing with homes, we have these things called arc fault breakers. They have this fancy little white pigtail that comes off of them. There's a whole bunch of different styles, combination arc fault that will do series and parallel arc detection, or there's just regular arc fault. But knowing arc faults is a really important thing because there's very specific rooms and locations and loads that have to have arc fault protection. This is a breaker, but it does more than just test how much current is going through a circuit, so it trips if there's a dangerous situation. It also detects if there's any arcing happening somewhere in the circuit. So just knowing that arc faults and circuit breakers are essentially the same thing, there's just a difference in why and how they work and what locations are what. But we'll do more on that later. Next is what we call in the field car flex. Some people just call this flex. There's a whole different series of names that you can understand because there's 3 different types of conduits that kind of look very similar to this. But this is non-metallic, liquid type, flexible conduit.
One outcome, the opposite of any work platform we're trying to fast. We try to work management platforms, not every day, that all suck.
Meaning it's non-metallic, so you can flex it. It's liquid type, meaning no water is going to penetrate and get into it. And it's a type of conduit, so we would run conductors on the inside of this. Mainly we use these outside air conditioners. You're coming from inside the house where your wires emerge out of the house. With the air conditioner on the ground, you're going to use this to hook up conductors so so that the conductors don't get wet. You can't just run them in free air. You actually have to have it against some kind of conduit. That's not the only place you would use these. There's a lot of reasons why you would use Carflex, but just know what Carflex is, and that it's used outdoors to hook things up around the house. All right, so since we just talked about Carflex, the next thing we should talk about is Carflex connectors. So there's 2 different styles of connectors. There's way more than 2 different styles, but there's 2 different types to concern yourself with. This is what we call a Carflex 90, because it's a 90-degree connector. So you would essentially hook this up like this if the box that you're hooking up to is at 90 degrees. If you don't have enough room to run straight into that thing, you know, like this one sticking out, this is a straight Carflex connector, and this is a Carflex 90. So just know that there's 2 different kinds depending on what you have room for and where you're coming into the enclosure or box. Next up is the AC disconnect. A AC disconnect is generally used for hooking up to air conditioning units. There has to be a means of disconnection, or what we call a disconnecting means, a way for a technician, AC guy has to go out and fix the air conditioning unit. He needs to be able to pull power and disconnect that unit right there at the unit so he can work on it and reconnect power when he leaves. Same thing for furnaces. A lot of electric furnaces use AC disconnects. They're not really called AC disconnects. We just call them that. If you're at Home Depot, you might see some boxes. Usually it's a 60-amp disconnect and just an AC disconnect on it. But they're used for a lot of different things. Sometimes they're used for water heaters, electric water heaters. But just know what a disconnect is, and that they're used to for a technician to be able to disconnect power locally at an appliance and work on it and then reconnect power. That way they don't have to run all the way around the house, try to turn the breaker on and turn the breaker off. They go all the way back and start working on something, and then Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner goes and flips that breaker for some stupid reason and shocks them while they're working on it. Next up is the bell box. So a bell box is a weatherproof enclosure that you can put a receptacle or any kind of device, a switch inside of. So you would run usually on the outside of the house or something oral, or you put a connector in here, and you would screw this thing into your wall. Outside all the time. And specifically managed for wet locations. Outdoors all the time. All right, and last on our list is the use cover. A lot of people call these bubble covers because the bubble cover is all bubbly. Whatever you call it, it's actually called an use cover. But the idea is, say you got a doll box, or maybe a regular box that you put into a wood exterior of a house or something. This goes on this. There's a weatherproof steel all the way around, so moisture and water doesn't get inside. And once your receptacle is installed inside, there's all these different inserts. If you're using a plug, if you're using a switch, or if you're using maybe a GFI or a port device. But you're going to have a receptacle inside here. And this allows you to have a cord. There's a little knockout here that you can pull out. That way you can have an extension cord or some kind of cord plugged into the device. And this thing can close while that is still plugged in. It gives you a little bit of extra room because that plug is going to be long and kind of cumbersome, so you need something with extra room. But the whole idea, you just need to know what a weatherproof bubble cover or a in-use cover is. You can use these again outside around houses, gardens, all over the place. So that's it. That's my list of, I don't know, I lost count now. It's probably number 25. But let me know if you guys have any other questions. There's definitely way more than ours. I'll probably do more of these. We can do something commercial as well. But I just wanted to give some of y'all apprentices understanding when you're first getting into residential of what these things are called and what they do and why you should know them. What's going on, friends? This is Dustin Stelzer, Electrician U, and today we're going to talk about home runs.
Teacher. 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 Well, you got your lead from home. See how that? Good. I go get some popcorn. Yeah. I'm not gonna have to do that. I'll go get popcorn. Right, but don't get it. I'll say that. I'm not eating. I'm gonna go get popcorn. Yeah, sit down, sit down. Yeah.
Why is everyone using Ninja Transfers?
Ninja transfers